hit a certain point in your career and say, I've learned all there is to know and I am perfect at what I do. That never happens, because the business changes and evolves over time, and actors have to just go with whatever the trend is. Like many years ago, that narrator voice was very in to sell a product, to sell on commercials. It's like, buy this car, drink this coffee. And that was called a hard sell. You want a soft sell, where now you listen to commercials and everybody is just very gentle and sound like your best friend. They're trying to talk you into buying a product, but they're not being loud and bombastic and obnoxious about it. They're not being announcery. They're just being, hey, I drive this car. I drink this coffee. What's going on? They lull that false sense of security. It's like, I can trust this person. Oh, he's trying to sell me something. It's okay. He sounds friendly.
That's one of the reasons I can't watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. Is because, I'm so conditioned. Well, the main reason I should tell you is that it's on Nickelodeon, and I can't watch it with the Nickelodeon logo instead of the Cartoon Network one. But, I try to watch it, and, the announcer on that, the narration on that show is just so, mundane and, tired. I got used to your bombastic, energetic version, and, now it's just oh, next time on Dragon Ball Z, they're gonna fight or something. Oh, never. You're gonna watch anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different vibe. I mean, first of all, it's logistics. I live in Los Angeles, and I can't afford to fly out every week to Texas to record for Anime Pay. That's kind of what it also boils down to. But they were at a point where it's like, well, we can take a different creative stab at this time, because the Japanese created an all new dub script, and this time, instead of editing it and watering it down for kids and everything, they stayed 100% faithful to what the Japanese script was, and they wanted to try it a little more straightforward, a little more, and as to whether it works or not, that's up to the fans to decide, and I guess they have through the years, because the sales figures for Kai haven't been nearly as big as the orange box sets, the season sets.
I mean, it probably does work, but I'm just a nostalgic hipster, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get where the otaku come from, and they're saying, oh, this character sounds wrong, it's better in Japanese. Well, because that's what you heard first. Yeah. And you're biased towards what you hear first. I mean, honestly, I love Chris Abbott and everything, but I mean, the first Vegeta I heard was Brian Drummond. The first Piccolo I heard was Scott McNeil. I mean, I'm a little bit biased there, but and
yeah, my Ocean dub. That's not my territory.
And I'm not the original narrator. I'm the only one that goes out there, on the convention circuit saying, I'm the narrator from Dragon Ball Z. I'm not the current one, and I'm far from the only one. I'm the third one. And GT has its own, Dragon Ball has its own. I used to do an impression, dare I say it. I don't feel like a hypocrite though. I used to just, before I became a voice actor, I would just go around the house imitating Doc Harris, who is the Ocean Dubs narrator. And then what I ended up doing was replacing the second narrator, whose name escapes me at the moment, but I know the fans probably know. But anyway, he left, and they said, hey, Kyle, you got a pretty wide range. We listened to your demo. We think you could do this. And I go, oh, my God, this would be amazing. So pretty soon after landing the Gohan role, I took over the narrator role, which was awesome because, yay, work, steady job, 291 episodes, because we eventually went back.
And redid the old narration.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and then the uncut versions came out, and the season box sets came out. The Dragon box came out, and now they're gonna repackage the season sets again and put them on Blu-ray. So,
no offense to anyone else, but I'm sure most people will agree you're the narrator. Other people have their opinions on the Gohan voices, but as far as narration goes, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees.
Well, I was lucky, and Brad Swale's awesome. He does the Canadian version of Teen Gohan, and the Ocean dub didn't get to those later episodes of Z, those later seasons, until after we'd already done ours. And I had some luck with my version of Gohan because I didn't have to try and voice match anybody. Sabat was trying to sound like the Canadian Piccolo and Vegeta and everything.
Yeah, you're right. You were the first one that didn't have a reference to go by.
Right. So I gave him a raspy sound, which I have when I try to sound like a teenager. So that just worked because Stephanie Nadolny had that rasp sound. And that's her natural speaking voice, and it works very well for the character. So I was very, very lucky that I got to kind of just make it my own. And they liked what I brought to it in the audition. And, the first thing I did was just bit parts. It's very risky in the anime dubbing world to just hire a noob without seeing if they can actually do lip sync and act. and I guess I did a good enough job. Although Chris Sabat, after the fact, said, you're a little shaky at first. And it's like, well, yeah, it's my first time. Of course it's going to be shaky. But and now when I go back, I get it that it's nostalgic for people now in their 20s and they were teenagers or kids when they first saw it on Cartoon Network and everything. But when I start watching my first stuff, like his Gohan and everything, I cringe because that's my first stuff as a voice actor. And it's like, But if we get to do Kai, if we get to do the Boo saga, I'll get to come back as Gohan, and I'll get to, revisit those, and I have 13 years of experience under my belt, so I think I'll be able to do a better acting performance, And from a personal standpoint, I'm just excited at that opportunity that presents me. Now I know the fans have pretty much kind of already made up their minds.
No one's gonna watch it.
Yeah, well.
The old of your recording that you hate is better than this new superior one that you worked harder on.
Well, I mean, some people may say that because, that's what they grew up on and that's nostalgic. And I get that and I appreciate it.
If I weren't talking to you right now.
I mean, God, if I could go back and redo some of the narration even, I would so do it because at first I think I sounded like an imitation of the guy I replaced. And then I kind of settled into my own thing. Which sounds nothing like the other narrator, so I don't know. But I'm just, again, at the end of the day, I love that I get to do this for a living. It's been a long, hard road to transition from leaving radio, where I was a full-time paid job, into the world of freelance. And anybody who's an animator, a programmer, a musician, an actor, anybody doing any sort of freelance employment knows how stressful it is to live paycheck to paycheck and never knowing where the next job's going to be or how much it's going to pay or anything. But all of that stress and drama in depression and losing your mind, it's totally worth it. I mean, actors are crazy to begin with, but the fact that I get to do this, I get to go into a booth for a few hours at a time, several times a week, and play pretend, just inhabit the skin of someone else, no matter if it's someone my age or someone older or someone younger or someone from a different species altogether. It's so much fun. It beats having a real job, I'll tell you that.
Everything beats having a real job. But that leads into the next question. What advice do you have for people that want to, be up-and-coming voice actors but don't really know how to get in the business?
Well, I tell you, a lot of people today, in today's generation, I sound like a bitter old man, but I say today's generation seems very entitled and they want it now. They don't want to work for it. And I'm here to tell you, after 13 years of being in this business that I've wanted to be in since I was a kid, that working towards something and finally achieving that goal, it feels so much more satisfactory than having it just handed to you. You're going to appreciate it so much more. So, but not everyone who wants to be a voice actor is meant to be a voice actor. I mean, it's great if people have an interest, that's where it starts. But if you take a bunch of acting classes and you sound just as wooden and stilted as you did on day one, and hopefully your teachers and friends will be honest with you and not just sugarcoat it and just tell you, no, you're great. Oh my God, you should totally give up. Hopefully people are being